Hello everyone! In today's video, I am going to tell you the stories of 3 of your favorite speaker characters, because I took a trip down my memory lane recently, and I remembered so many cool and emotional moments connected with them. So now I will tell you everything about them as well. But who am I going to talk about exactly? You'll find it out as you continue watching this video. Today, I will refresh your memory by telling you the whole fascinating story of 3 awesome characters of the series. But besides that, I've also prepared a special bonus for you at the end of this video. So, if you want to figure out what kind of surprise I've made for you guys, watch this video to the end not to miss anything interesting. Now get your tea and snacks ready and let's go. And the first Chad from our speaker trio of awesomeness is no other than the Black Speakerman, because it would simply feel wrong to start with someone who wouldn't be him. This guy gets to be more and more badass as the series progresses. And right now, as we're waiting for the next part of the 70th episode to get released, I'm having some really high hopes about his plot arc progression and the development of his character. And by the way, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty disappointed, guys, when Boom did not release the new episode as it was massively expected by the fans and me personally on the 7th of 8th of February, in the day of the Skibidi Toilet's anniversary. Although it would be such a perfect opportunity to give us the new episode in the best timing possible. So, well, considering that it didn't happen for whatever reason that Boom had, I mean, maybe he was extra busy or something. Today I'm going to go back to my favorite member of the Alliance Elite Squad. I've already talked about him quite a lot, but I've never taken an opportunity to fully explain the history of his character to you guys before. So now I would like to fill this blank space on my channel. And by the way, I hope that you are subscribed to it, and if you aren't, then do it right away, because I'm constantly releasing the new entertaining videos for you guys while you are waiting for the new episodes from Boom. But I digressed a bit. So let's get back to the Black Speakerman now. So, the very first time when we saw this guy had actually happened not in episode 63 as lots of people think, but much, much earlier. Do you guys remember episode 24? And now, let me take you to this particular scene, where after the terrifying Hydra Toilet's defeat, we could see a bunch of Speakerman dancing happily to the already iconic "Everybody Wants to Rule the World" track. And there was one special Speakerman in that crowd. Doesn't he look familiar to you? Yep, that's our guy. And it's time to prove it to you, friends, that it was actually him all along, and that this Speakerman and the Black Speakerman that appeared after many episodes later are not different characters, but the same dude. Now here's the high time to take several history lessons here. If you are the long-term subscriber of my channel, then you would definitely know that I expected this guy to be special from his very first appearance in the Skibidi Toilet series, namely from episode 24. And by the way, this is not the only time I'm about to mention this exact episode, so keep watching in order to find out why. So when I saw this funnily dancing Speakerman in the red shirt, and with the black speaker for a very short period of time, that stood out from the crowd of the regular Speakermen so much, I've made a certain prediction about his fate immediately. I was sure back then that his guy will have a very special role as a character in the future plot of Skibidi series, although nothing had been pointing out to it in the earlier episodes. My eye really caught him out of the whole crowd, and although he hadn't been creating an impression of being something more than just a cool dancing dude, I had a feeling that he would eventually become a more complex and developed character. I've also made a suggestion that due to his unique appearance, he might one day become some kind of special agent of a member of the Elite Squad with outstanding abilities. I think this guy has more power than the regular Speakerman. We don't see him develop on the show, but I would really like to see him become one of the main characters along with Plungerman. And this is exactly what had happened in episode 63, when this guy epically reappeared in all his glory and gave me a joy that couldn't be expressed with simple words. But let's not be so quick and take it all step by step. My idea is that Boom probably used the skin of the Speakerman with the different color of his shirt and the speaker by accident. But then, as a few Skibidi analysts paid attention to it, and when some speculations arose around this Speakerman, he actually decided to stick to another idea about him in the future. So instead of just leaving this guy with a really neat design in the past, he did what all the fans of the series waited for him to do. He actually turned this guy into an elite badass agent fighting for the Alliance. So now he's not just a regular Speakerman citizen having no real power, but the strongest among his own kind. Except for Titan Speakerman, maybe. although I find it to be totally possible that maybe one day our Black Speakerman Chad will be equal in powers to this Titan. So, his debut as an iconic knife speakerman happened in episode 63, and there were a few differences in his design made by Boom. The first thing that captures an eye is that in this scene he looks taller in comparison with an average cameraman. And I think that Boom made him that way to emphasize how strong and cool this guy is. And this height didn't ever change even by the latest episodes, so this is official that the Black Speakerman is taller than the ordinary members of the Alliance. And then, you can ask me, in that case, how the Speakerman from episode 24 can be the same character from episode 63 if their heights are different? Well, I think that is actually pretty easy for me to explain. I assume that Boom had simply changed the height characteristics of the Black Speakerman's animated model in order to make him more supreme and special by comparison with other agents. And I think that his plan actually worked quite perfectly. So during the time of his first appearance, all that the Black Speakerman had were two of his powerful knives that allowed him to engage in a fierce melee combat and a jetpack on his back that made him able to fly in the air and jump on his opponents while striking them heavy blows with his knives. He also wears protective earphones, which gives us a hint already that he's an elite agent who's meant to fight with the more powerful Skibidi that might be upgraded with the devices which are capable or releasing sound waves as well, such as Skibidi Scientist, for example, who equipped the giant speaker by episode 60. The next time he appears in the series happens in episode 66 for a brief period of time, when he gets teleported to the TV Men's base from the battlefield with the help of a TV man. And before that, he was being shown stabbing ferociously this camouflage Skibidi toilet, as he got enraged by the fake message sent to the Alliance by Skibidi Scientist. So we can see how, in the state of rage, he can become even more dangerous than he already is by default. But what interests me more in this episode is the fact that his main speaker started glowing in red color, which made him more resemblant of SPEAKERWOMAN. Also, it reminded me how Plungerman got his glowing blue lens as well, similarly to the lens of Camera Woman, with the only exception that her lens turned red during the battles she participated in. It is yet another indication of him being truly elite, because this part is extremely rare, and it makes him somehow related to the unique members of the Alliance. Also, I can say that in episode 66 he became one of the very few speakermen that got to see the TV Men's base from the inside. But the real talk starts in the fourth part of episode 67, where the Black Speakerman enters the hidden Skibidi bunker as a part of the elite infiltration squad, the mission of which is to find Skibidi Scientist and find out about the deepest secrets of the whole Skibidi army that would help to destroy them for good. Starting from this episode, our blood has been slaying everything in his way, and he became simply unstoppable. Besides that, in my analysis of the second part of episode 68, I noticed how he and Plungerman were basically the only members of the infiltration squad that cared fighting with the enemies, while the other cameramen were taking it easy and seemed to wait until these two Chads would do all the heavy lifting for them. And, well, they all got kind of punished for it. Besides, in this episode, we could notice how the Black Speakerman was the only one who was covering himself from the Skibidi Kleiner in the elevator, which makes him probably the smartest member of this squad as well. And he will also prove it to us later. In the first part of episode 69, he shows us how, along with Plungerman, he is capable of killing Skibidi parasites in the melee battle without using the paralyzing rifles. And we know that those parasites are one of the most dangerous opponents for melee fighters. And look at the way he does it. He doesn't even have to look at this rotter to destroy him with one precise knife blow. Moreover, he even manages to throw one of the parasites off him before he gets infected, making me think that he is either immune to the parasite attack, or his reactions are so quick that he can throw these monstrosities off before they could actually mess with his mind. Also, in this episode, he saves POV Plungerman from the terrifying Skibidi mutant, and it will not be the only time he does that in this bunker. And of course, in the end of this exact episode, one of the most iconic scenes in the Skibidi series history happens. The Black Speakerman decides to sacrifice the two cameramen with green ties and block the glass door in order to save the rest of the infiltration squad. This makes POV Plungerman mad as hell, who experienced way too many losses in this bunker already, and since that moment the feud between these two Chads begins. In this scene, the Black Speakerman's red speaker also got scratched from the punch of the angered Plungerman, but our cold Chad seems not to give a damn about it, and he simply walks away without participating in the fistfight with his comrade. This tells us a lot about his personality here. Although the Black Speakerman seems to be just a cold and ruthless warrior, who's being led mostly by the logic and ratio. In this scene, we see how he is ready to take a heavy responsibility on his shoulders in order to do the right thing, and that he understands the feelings of his hurt friend. That makes his character really sympathetic and deep, and I love the way he was being portrayed in this episode. And in the second part of episode 70, the plot arc involving him and Plungerman keeps evolving, and we see the emotional side of it even more. In here, the Black Speakerman is shown saving his squad comrades, and he tries to help Plungerman too, who refuses his help at first because their discord is still not over. The most thrilling moment of this episode happens when our Speakerman Chad saves Plungerman from the total destruction by throwing him away from the terrifying red glow that affects cameramen in a way TV men's glow affected Skibidi without protective glasses, if you know what I mean, guys. And this is highly disturbing. In the end, he and Plungerman seem to be the only remaining members of the Elite Alliance's squad. So in the next episode of the series, I expect to see the finale of their bro arc, and I hope both of our Chads will survive and come into peace one with another. The Black Speakerman weaponizes himself with the spear that he takes from the glass cage, and I think that is an elite weapon of the Alliance, and I hope to see the Black Speakerman using it in the melee battle very soon. The story of this badass character is not over yet, so I'm really looking forward to see how his plot arc evolves in the future episode of the series. And now it's time to talk about the other Speakerman I don't have a special video about, although he's interesting enough to take a spot. So another character that came to us through the earliest episodes of the series is gray-suited Speakerman. And there are a few very important things about his figure. To start with, he's the first Speakerman to ever appear in the series, and you must be remembering this iconic scene featuring him in episode 24, when he helped the POV to get on his feet. Later, this scene was reproduced or parodied by Boom a crazy number of times in the following episodes. For example, in episode 63, where, unlike the Gray Speakerman, our Chad actually refused helping the POV. Or in episode 66, where the tables turned the other way. So this time, it was the POV who actually aided gray-suited Speakerman, sort of returning him the favor. What I can say about his character is that his main function in the series is not actually fighting for the Alliance itself, but being sort of a running gag to make the actions more alive and lighthearted. Despite that, he is still capable of participating in the combat as any other regular Speakerman. He easily flushes the toilet in episode 24, and we could see him for one very brief moment in episode 62 as well, where it seemed likely that he, with this cameraman standing nearby, had flushed another Skibidi toilet off screen. And it proves that he's a good fighter as well, but not even a quarter as good as the Black Speakerman, of course. Also, I have a very interesting theory about this guy. In episode 25, we could see the same gray-suited Speakerman who hinted into the POV with the gesture that he needs to put the protective earphones on. And then, as the chaos starts happening around them, he could be seen dancing carelessly. It gave me an idea that this guy may actually possess some knowledge the other Speakermen do not have, and that despite his regular appearance and combat abilities, he may be of some higher position in the Alliance. And what do you guys think? Share your opinion with me in the comments because I'll be really interested to know what's your theories on that guy. And now, it's time to come to the last but not least sort of member of our cool speaker trio. And she's the reason why I didn't call it Speakermen Trio, actually. So yeah, today I'm also going to talk about Speakerwoman for a bit because, well, I've got to clear the air here, actually, my friends. Before I'll dive into her character, and no pun intended here, I'd like to apologize before her for sort of forgetting her for a while. Because damn guys, how could I focus on just that one lady when Drill Woman also exists? I mean, did you all see two of her, well, drill bits? And I mean, no offense to my beloved Speakerwoman, but she's losing the game a little bit at this aspect. But it doesn't matter, guys, because as you know, I'm a massive Giga-Chad myself, so it's no problem for me to fancy both of these fabulous ladies. So let me declare my love for Speakerwoman once again. So I hope you are not that confused now, my friends. Actually, I've already talked about Speakerwoman's appearances in the series before, and they weren't that many of them because she appeared the last in Skibidi universe, while TV Woman and Camera Woman emerged a little earlier. But despite being kind of the youngest in her female squad, she's actually a really strong girl, and she deserves to be called one of the strongest fighters of the Alliance in pair with the Black Speakerman. So her debut happened in episode 61, and it was really memorable. I mean, this was that exact scene where she stole my heart, and unfortunately not just mine. She appears on the screen dressed in the stylish red shirt, which captures the eye of the audience pretty easily. And another thing that got the attention of lots of viewers was her quirky and funny personality combined with some really badass fighting abilities. And I must also add that unlike Camera Woman and TV Woman, this lady prefers the melee fights much more. And it's no surprise to me because she's so freaking good at it. The main weapons of hers are two knives that are attached to the containers on the side of her head, and she uses them to throw at her opponents at lightning speed. And another powerful tool of hers that she uses in the battle is also her head speaker covered with protective earphones that is able to produce powerful sound booms to stun the enemies in front of her or even deflect the dangerous missiles like rockets. And also besides that, she's also quite dexterous and quick as heck, which makes her a very mighty opponent. Aside from this fact, what also distinguishes her from the crowd of the ordinary speakermen is her bright reddish lens, resembling her face. And I've already told you before in this video that the only speakerman who also has this kind of lens is the Black Speakerman from the Elite Alliance's squad. And just like Camera Woman, in the first part of episode 70, Speaker Woman got some really cool upgrades. So now she has been added 2 awesomely looking katanas, and she's also got 2 more containers for her knives to keep. And I bet that she'll be absolutely incredible in the upcoming battles, and that's why I think she was worthy of talking about her a little bit more. And now, as promised by me before guys, it's Tome for the bonus in the end of this video. So what I'll also talk about today is the secret leak for the upcoming third part of episode 70 that was published by Boom himself on the main page of his Skibidi toilet shop. And I can say for sure that it's one of the most mysterious and intriguing leaks I could remember. And mind you, that I have been analyzing Boom's content for a very long time. In this leak, we can see the image of the very first toilet to ever appear in the series with the head of male_07. It seems like a screenshot from the first episode with no changes to be made, but there are a few hidden details in here actually. First of all, we can see the tiny inscription saying 1 year, which is a clear reference to the anniversary of Skibidi toilet series that I've already made a video about. And second of all, this picture turns out to be an actual spoiler for the upcoming third part of episode 70 when I closely examined it in Photoshop with multiple visual options being changes. So, that's what I saw. This leak actually contains the mysterious inscription saying, "Some things have to stay secret," which almost blew me away. It seems like Boom decided to play it really sneakily this time, so he made it very difficult for us to even speculate what that might actually mean. My first guess was that Boom published this leak to do 2 things. Firstly, to reassure us that the episode is actually coming very soon, and secondly, that it will probably be the most mysterious and intricating one of all. So that's why he couldn't even allow himself to spoil it to us. And maybe, considering that he chose this exact toilet to appear as a leak, the next episode will be somehow connected to the figure of male_07. Who knows? And that was all for today. I'll be looking forward to the next episode to see what's going to happen, because Boom has surely grabbed my attention with this leak. Be sure to write in the comments what you guys think of that leak's purpose, and what's coming for the third part of episode 70. And I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, hit the like and subscribe button. And that was me, ISOTOILET. See ya!